Welcome to another EDH deck tech. This is my Talrand Sky Summoner deck. I really struggled with mono blue to find a deck that I liked. I liked the casting instants and sorcery, the spell slinging nature of mono blue. I liked the counterspell nature of mono blue, and I like the drawing part of mono blue. But I didn't really like the artifacts or combo nature of mono blue or meal or anything like that. So I ended up on Talrand Sky Summoner. Originally, this was a Gadwig the Wizened deck that I pulled apart just because that one I couldn't really figure out a good way to win without comboing. So it just wasn't that enjoyable to me. But Talrand kind of gives me another avenue where I can swing out because I do love the combat step. Swing out with some Drakes as well as counter some spells. So first up is just some token kind of synergy. So favorable wins, super cheap, just to give your Drakes a bit of a boost, which is nice. Bite and Thassa. I'm going to be making a lot of Drakes. I'm hoping that they're going to be dealing combat damage. So you're going to draw a few cards off this, which is quite nice. Coastal Piracy, same thing of that effect. This one's the original. And then Reconnaissance Mission, the new one, same thing. This one is cycling just in case you need to draw, but yeah, I want to have a board of a few Drakes and then cast this. And then Metallurgic Summonings, just as a bit of redundancy to Talrand. Talrand is really really a focal point for this deck, and without it, it can kind of fall apart. So just having a bit of that redundancy. The tokens have variable power and toughness, and they don't fly, but yeah, just to have some of those tokens around just in case. Okay, next up is the counterspell suite. So like all counterspells and all decks that I guess people play, you can play all different kinds of counterspells and it would be just fine. It would kind of work the same way. So these are the kind of counterspells that I like to play, or at least have. So first up is Abjar. So this is essentially you're going to sacrifice a blue permanent, which will most likely be a Drake, to counter a spell. You're going to trigger Talrand and you're going to get a Drake. So you're net neutral and you've countered someone's spell for 1 mana. So really nice. This was actually a suggestion from EDH Rex up in the average video series when they did Talrand. I'd never heard of it and I was like, wow, that's actually really, really nice in this deck. So just 1 mana. Swan Song, same thing, 1 mana, super cheap. You're going to hit a lot of different things. It is a pity that they get a 2/2 bird. It's going to match your Drakes, but you know, it's just so mana efficient. Arcane Denial, nice. It replaces itself. You know, your opponent's going to get 2 cards, but you know, it doesn't really matter. You don't really care if they're getting cards. But the fact is, it's just going to replace itself, which is nice. Counterspell, the OG, the original, just good. I have plenty of mana, so plenty of blue mana, so I have no problems casting it. Delay's nice. It counters any target spell, and it puts it on suspend, and usually that spell is no longer relevant at that time. So Delay I found actually quite nice. Mana Drain, you know, one of the best counter spells. You're going to get that mana. I have plenty of mana sinks that I can use, so it's great. Narset's Reversal, another one that you can do at kind of, you know, getting later in the game. They go for a big spell, you copy it. It's going to be fantastic for you. Archmage's Charm, another one that's just nice and versatile. It 3 mana for countering the spells, like okay, whatever, that's not that great. But the instant draw 2 and possibly taking one of their soul, like a soul ring or something, is just, yeah, really, really versatile. I quite like it. You're the 3 blue pips, you're not really going to have a problem with it. Fierce Guardianship, Talrand is so focal that you do want it out. So having this active is, you know, it's usually online. Force Negation, another free counterspell. You know, these are going to be free and you're going to be getting a Drake and you're countering their spell. Saw it coming. I have a little bit of a foretell package in here. So having this in here, you know, just early on, I don't really want to be countering too much. I'll just foretell this and then later on it's, you know, better than a counterspell. Wizard's Retort essentially is counterspell in this deck because Talrand is a wizard. So just having another nice backup. Mystic Confluence, it's one of the more expensive counter spells. It's just versatile in its modes. It's usually counter spell, draw 2 cards at instant speed, so it's quite nice. And Sublime Epiphany, another one where it's versatile. You're going to pretty much get most of these effects. You'll copy a Drake essentially. So you're gonna get 2 Drakes, draw a card, bounce a permanent, and counter spell. So nice value. Okay. Next thing is draw. So first up is Brainstorm. I want just cheap draw. I want cheap instants and sorceries. I want to getting through my deck. I want to be casting those spells, getting Drakes. So things like Brainstorm is great. I don't really have a lot of shuffle effects or fetch lands or anything like that. So it's not as optimal as it can be, but it's still a great card to have. It's 1 mana, draw 3 cards, and get a Drake. Gitaxian Probe, pay 2 life, so it's essentially free. Get a Drake, draw a card. Opt, same thing. Scry, draw a card. All for 1 mana. Ponder, 1 mana. Look at some cards, draw a card. Preordain, same thing. Look at some cards, draw a card. Serum Visions, same thing. Draw a card, look at some cards. Sleight of Hand, I'm going to be looking at some cards in my deck, and I'm going to get one of them. Again, all 1 mana. So next up, Pull from Tomorrow. I have a lot of... I'm going to be countering a lot of spells, so I'll be holding up a lot of mana. So the fact is that this is instant. I can just do if I don't want to counter any spells. It's just nice. I'll just cast this X, maybe 3 or 4, just to draw some cards if I'm not really interested in countering spells. Next, Think Twice. So Think Twice, it's a bit on the expensive side in terms of mana value, but the fact is it's essentially 2 spells. You're going to get that flashback, so it's 2 Drakes and 2 cards. So nice. Blue Sun Zenith. Again, this is kind of like Pull from Tomorrow number 2 as well, where you're going to just end step if you don't want to counter anything, draw some cards, and it's going to get shuffled back in. So it's nice. Frantic Search. It's essentially free because it's going to untap 3 lands. So it's drawing cards. It's not going to cost me any mana, and I'm going to be getting a Drake. So great. Saloon Division, it's a land, so it's a modal double face card on the other side. And I can dig deep for an instance and sorcery, which I have heaps of. Winged Words. Essentially, this will be 2 mana draw 2 if I've got a Drake out. So, great value. Behold the Multiverse. Another one of those foretell. You can just do it early, and then if I'm not countering any spells, I get to scry 2 and draw 2. Great. Fact or Fiction, one of my faves. You're going to cast this again because you're holding up mana, but you'll cast it at end of turn if you don't want to counter anything, and it's going to be a 4 mana draw 3 or a 4 mana draw 4 if they think that one of those cards is something that you really need. So yeah, really good. Dig Through Time. I've got a lot of cheap cantrips, so the Delve will always be kind of available to me. So just digging really deep. And Treasure Cruise, same thing, draw 3 cards. Now I have some non-instants and sorcery draw. Most of it is instants and sorceries, but there's some that are just really good value. So Ristic Study, great, always pay the 1. Archmage Emeritus. This one's another new one from Strixhaven. I'm going to be casting a lot of instants and sorceries, so with this and Talrand, I'm going to be drawing a card and getting a Drake. So nice. All right, next up is some tutors. So Mystical Tutor, great, efficient. It's going to put instant sorcery on top of my deck, so I'll know what I'm drawing, and great value. Flood of Recollection. I like to have something that can kind of get something out of the graveyard. I've got cheap spells, or maybe one of my big spells I can just kind of get back, which is nice. It's 2 mana, so that's okay, and I'm going to get a Drake. Merchant Scroll. It searches only for blue instants. A third of the deck is blue instants, so this isn't really a problem for me. So lots of options. Fabricate. Searching for an artifact. I've got some artifacts that are nice to have. So searching for them is quite nice. Plus I get a Drake. And solve the equation, same thing. I'm going to get instant sorcery, which is essentially half the deck. Yeah, you got your pick. I have a couple of reducers. So Baral, really nice, just super cheap, and there's countering spell trigger can happen in this deck because I've got quite a few counters. So really good. And then Primal Amulet. I'm going to be casting a lot of instant sorceries, which means I'm going to get drakes, and then this will flip to the other side so I can get more copies. And then I do play one combo. I play the Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal combo. So essentially you imprint Dramatic Reversal onto Isochron Scepter, and then you untap your Mana Rocks, and you essentially are casting that spell, so you will get infinite drakes with Talrand out. So you can do this at end step and have infinite drakes and swing out. So it is something to help end the game. Sometimes you might even want to put like Mana Drain or something underneath here if you really need. I have a lot of cheap spells, so just having that flexibility is nice. But if you want to end the game, it's nice to have something like this in there. Okay, removal. So Pongify, classic. I don't really care about the token too much. Really cheap. Rapid hybridization, same thing. Really cheap. Reality shift. It's really nice. It does exile the creature, and the manifest is usually not too relevant. Cyclonic Rift, great, classic, bounce everything, and then I swing out with my drakes. Snap, same thing with like Frantic Search. It untaps land, so it's essentially free, so I'm bouncing creature, and I'm getting a drake for free. Raven Form, Foretell, and the exile target artifact and creature is nice. Pity that they get a flying bird, which means they can block my drake, but good value. Aetherize. So if anyone's swinging out at me, I can bounce all their permanents. I'm holding up mana, so it's okay if I have this. And then if no one swings out at me, I just do an instant draw spell. At the spout, same thing, but this puts things on tops or bottoms of libraries, so I can really mess with their draws as well. Again, I'm holding up mana, so it's fine. Perplexing Test. This one's a new one from Strixhaven that I'm trying out. It will return tokens or non-tokens. So I want to keep my tokens around, so sending everyone's non-tokens to their hands, great, and then I just swing out. And it's instant. So again, holding up mana. Okay, ramp. So I have, I'm monocolored, so I have a lot of flexibility with the ramp. So I do play a bit of colorless ramp. So Ever-Flowing Chalice, just nice at any stage of the game. Soul Ring, classic. Arcane Signet, it's taps for any mana taps for blue. Sorry, Belwar Stone. Somebody will be playing blue, so that's so great. Mind Stone, colorless, but I can draw a card. Sky Diamond, it comes in tap, but it makes blue, which is nice. Star Compass, same thing. It's any of my basic lands, but that will be islands, so that's fine. Thought Vessel, I have a lot of kind of draw spells, so getting that no maximum hand size is great. And Midnight Clock's another one that I put in my blue decks just because it refills my hand after a few turns, which is nice. Okay, lands. So Blast Zone. Blast Zone's there just to kind of deal with any permanents that I wasn't able to bounce or counter on the way down. So, if somebody has like Ghostly Prison or something, I can get rid of it. Castle Ventress, I can scry, which is nice. Ghost Quarter, I usually put something like this in my any of my decks. I put Ghost Quarter usually in my more budget decks, where you might have like a Strip Mine or a Wasteland in here, just because somebody will have a Guy's Cradle or a Cabal Coffers or something like that. So Lonely Sandbar, it cycles, which is nice. Myriad Landscape, bit of ramp, and get those islands out. Mystic Sanctuary, I have a lot of islands, so I have no problems getting this onto the battlefield and triggering this, so I'm going to get my spells back. Reliquary Tower, again, with Thought Vessel, I have a large hand, so, having that is quite nice. And then the rest is islands. Okay, and that's my Talrand Sky Summoner deck. It's a lot of fun, a lot of countering spells. If you just want to kind of be the one in control, it's quite nice. Enjoy.